Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Living Beyond Limits. You all know I'm Reverend Jennifer Spear. We are a part of Centers for Spiritual Living. I'm so glad that you've joined us today. And for those of you who are joining us online, welcome also to our Sunday morning service. And so let's join together in reading our mission statement that's on the front of the bulletin. We are a sanctuary where people can discover and reveal the presence of God within their own being and experience their oneness with all life. Through the realization of this inner presence of love and peace, we give way to the evolutionary impulse of the divine and become a beneficial presence in the world. So that's what we are up to here at Living Beyond Limits, is through the music and the songs that we sing and the readings and the talks, is waking up to the fact that we are divine beings. That at our core, we are spirit in form here living this human life, but we're living a spiritual life. We're waking up to the fact that that infinite presence that expresses as life itself, that expresses, as we can see so clearly in the trees and the birds and the flowers and the grass that is growing, we can see that life force. We can see that creativity. We can see that intelligence. That same presence expresses itself within us. Expresses within us as peace and wholeness and love and harmony and joy and beauty, all of those qualities and characteristics that are true of spirit, that living spirit, are true about us. But it's only as we come to recognize that and to know that we actually are able to bring that forward when situations are difficult or challenging. When the world is not reflecting love, we can bring love into that moment, into that conversation. When we are being told that we are somehow less than, we can stand in the truth of our own wholeness and our own power and not be such victims to the world. It puts us in a place of power and in a place of choice. And as we are able to come forward as love and peace and abundance and generosity and all those things, we act as a healing balm in this world. Because it not only when we wake up to our own nature does that affect us, but we come to the world differently. And then the world reflects something back different. So I thank all of you for walking this path, for saying yes to the call of your own spirit to be the light in this world. So thank you for that. Well, I don't know about you, but to me, this really feels literally like January 74th. Oh my gosh, there has been so much going on between wars and fires and the ensuing devastation from the fires, to executive orders that have come out this week, to our worry and concern about what might happen or what is happening. All of that is a lot. Has it felt like a lot to you? Gosh. I think there are many people right now who feel really distraught about what has happened and really worried about what might happen. I think a lot of us are kind of living in that swirl right now. And when we are in that swirl, it's really easy when we're focused on the negativity, it's really easy to feel deflated. Do you feel deflated at all? It's really easy to feel helpless to do anything to make a positive change. And I know we all don't want to feel helpless. In fact, I even look at, right after the fires started, the amount of people that came and volunteered and brought water and brought clothes and stuff. There were so many people, they were turning people away. We want to be able to help. We want to be able to make a difference. And as people here who are awake to our own spiritual nature, we want to be part of the solution, whatever it is that's going on. We want to affect positive change, both locally here and in this country. We do not want to get lost in fear or worry or concern or feelings of powerlessness or feelings of hopelessness. Reverend Scott Aubrey says, "There is something in you that is greater than any condition or circumstance that you face. There is something that was a part of you when you were created, a presence and a power awaiting your recognition. That presence and that power and that potential is always within you, and it is the very nature of life. There are no limitations. That something, great something within you, is calling you and calling me to make a difference. It is calling us to create an avenue so that it might express itself more fully in this world. It is calling us to shine our light. It is calling us to bring our heart and our spirit into this world in a way that makes a difference. We're doing class right now, Journey of the Soul, and one of the things that we read in our workbook this week and then talked about said, viewing the world through the eyes of the soul means seeing the challenges in our lives and the world as an opportunity to serve. And every experience, especially the most challenging ones, as an opportunity to grow and to evolve. And when we were talking about that, and as we read that, it occurred to me, you know what? Maybe everything that's going on right now is on purpose for my soul. Maybe it's on purpose for me. Because what happens is as these things are going on and I feel distress and distraught over them, it is compelling me to fan the flames of my own spiritual nature. It's causing me to fan the flames of my spirit and to bring that into the world, to lean into that infinite presence. And so maybe what's going on in the world is on purpose for you also. Maybe it's on purpose for all of us that are here. Because it's causing us to more fully awaken to our spiritual nature. It's causing us to lean into spirit and to lean into our own inner beingness and our own spirit and finding that strength and that peace and that power inside of us that we might not otherwise find. It's causing us to consciously create a space for the good, for love, for peace to unfold through us. The title of my talk today is What's Calling You? And I'm talking about that every challenge that is thrown at us is designed to shape us into the person we are meant to be. It's there to shape us into the person that we are meant to be when we incarnated in these human bodies in this lifetime. That living spirit and our own spirit is calling us to be the light, to be the love, to be a power for good, to bring good into the world. That's why we came here. Raymond Charles Barker said, you can only be what you are aware of being. You can only be what you believe yourself to be. At the present moment, I may not know how much money I have in my wallet. I can reach into my pocket, take out my wallet, count the bills, and know how much I have. Therefore, if I choose, use the money. Being aware of it, I have it. Being aware of who we are as spiritual beings enables us to bring those qualities of spirit into this world. Being aware of who we are and remembering why we came here, who we are and what we are, enables us to approach the world with intention the intention of healing, with the intention of loving, with the intention of making whole, with the intention of blessing and of nurturing this world. And I know it's super super easy right now to get sucked into the fear. I saw a comic this week that said, "My desire to be informed is at odds with my desire to remain sane." We're all there. And in the Christian Bible, Joshua 24:15 says, "Choose this day whom you will serve." Will you serve division and fear, or will you serve love? Will you serve your ego, or will you serve spirit and your own spirit? Will you serve pessimism, or will you serve optimism? I read a story this week. It says, people who have an optimistic perspective and have a resounding yes to "I feel lucky" are more likely heroes or healers. People who are pessimists say, and people that say "I don't feel very lucky," are typically victims. Dr. Richard Wiseman did a study where he asked people to perceive their own luck and how lucky they feel. Then he gave them a challenge. He gave them a newspaper and said, "I want you to count the number of images in the newspaper." They sat with the newspaper and counted all the images. But there was a trick, as there's always a trick in these kind of studies. On the second page of the newspaper, in big print, it said, "Stop counting. There are 42 images in the newspaper." Almost all of the people who perceived themselves as optimists and lucky saw the ad, closed the paper, gave it back with the response, 42 images. Almost none of the pessimistic or people who perceived themselves as unlucky saw the ad. The pessimistic, unlucky people missed the ad and kept counting, spent a lot of time, and made more mistakes counting. This means that if you think of yourself as lucky and you are optimistic, you literally see more opportunities. If you think of yourself as unlucky and pessimistic, you miss them. Optimism and remembering who we are. Optimism and remembering who we are, and that we are here to be a beneficial presence in this world, that we are here to bring spirit into this world, remembering that we are here to be the light and the love of that one and only, enables us to see options. It enables us to see solutions, to see opportunities. It enables us to move the needle of what's going on. At Centers for Spiritual Living, one of the things that we teach is this material world comes out of spirit, comes out of that eternal one that is the cause of all things that exist. I love it. My mind is blank all of a sudden. That spirit actually flows out of that one through recognition, God recognizing that which it is, contemplating its own nature, and that is the activity of the world springing forth. The very essence of spirit, of that cause, is peace and order and balance. The nature of spirit is harmony and unity, oneness, and wholeness. Its essence is wisdom and intelligence. Its essence is beauty and love and abundance. That's spirit's nature. And when we look out at nature, we can see all of those things. We can see order and harmony and beauty. It's so easy to see that, to see life expressing itself. But if what we see in the world is not in alignment with peace and order and balance, if what we see is not in alignment with harmony and unity or oneness and wholeness, if it's not in alignment with wisdom and intelligence, if it's not in alignment, a personification of beauty or love or abundance, then it's coming from a different cause. It's coming from human thinking that is based in something that is not the capital T truth. It is based in human thinking and false beliefs. So let me give you an example. Perhaps what we are seeing comes out of a false belief that there is not enough. You can see people doing that, right? Believing that there is not enough, which is not the truth. Because the capital T truth is this is an abundant universe, and spirit is infinitely abundant, infinitely creative, boundless in its nature. Perhaps we see what we see in the world is coming from a belief in otherness, rather than the truth that there is only one, that we are part of the oneness of life, that there is only one human family. Perhaps what we see is coming from a false belief in competition. And a false belief that there is such a thing as competition comes out of a belief that there is not a force for good that is constantly sourcing you and sourcing your life. The truth is we are infinitely sourced. It's kind of like addiction. You know, addiction isn't the problem. It's a symptom of a problem. Underneath that is the problem that needs to be healed that's causing whatever the addiction is. It's the same thing when we look at what's going on in the world and we see it as a problem. That's not the problem. It's a symptom of the problem. It's a symptom of a false belief that people are believing that is not the capital T truth. So we are called to see what that belief is that is underneath what's happening in the world or what's happening in our own lives. What's causing the things that we don't like that are going on in our own lives? We are called to be agents for healing. So in our spiritual practice, there are two things that we can do. One is to look for and to discover what the underlying belief is that's causing what's going on, whether it's in the world or in our own lives. And then after we discover what that false belief is, then to replace that or to turn to and look for what is the capital T truth here? What is the principle? What is the thing about spirit that is true and eternal and unchanging that is still present here but not being recognized or not being embodied? And so let's do some of those together. Think of something right now that is bothering you, something that's holding your attention, that's bothering you. Maybe it's something that goes against what you stand for or your spiritual principles. Can you think of one? What might be the false belief that's causing that to happen in this world? Anybody? Fear. So what's the issue that you see? And then fear is the underlying fear. Okay, so you see fear. So what's the underlying belief behind the fear? A danger. So what we're seeing is fear out of a false belief that there are people that are a danger. So what could be the truth? They're just people too, just like us. Who else? Shelley? Okay, there is a symptom we're seeing of dislike and distrust of the people in charge. So what is the belief underneath that? Okay. The belief is they're evil, they'll always be evil, and they're out to do us harm. What is the spiritual truth? What is the principle that is opposite of that? Oh, did you hear that? All people are inherently good. If they knew better, they'd be better. I'm reading Father Gregory Boyle's book right now, and it's so fantastic. And the first principle is there is goodness inside of every single one of us. All of us. Deetra, you got one? The symptom is the what was the word you said? Elimination of diversity, equity, and inclusion.
And that the elimination of that grows fear in me.
Brought up fear in her.
In me.
Uh-huh.
As a result of I am a benefactor of affirmative action.
She is a benefactor of affirmative action, so it has brought up fear in her.
It brought up fear in me.
Uh-huh.
As
So
it relates
what's the false belief that's causing that to be happening in the world?
that we are separate individuals and that there is a difference.
So the false belief is separation. There's something other than oneness. There's something different than this one human family. And so what's the truth, the capital T truth?
The truth is we are all one.
We are all one.
And that the divine spark is within all of us.
And the divine spark is within all of us.
And we are all capable.
The truth is oneness. Anybody else have one they want to share? Yes, Reverend Barbara. That's the truth. There is enough. So how can you know, what's the principle that enables you to know that there is a solution to all of this? No, I want to know what the principle is. What's the spiritual truth? Right. Right. But the truth, the spiritual truth is there is an intelligence that is expressing itself and unfolding itself as the solution to whatever the problem is. I tell you guys that there are no problems in God. And God is in every single one of us. The solutions are there. We just get to open up and allow them to come forward. The pessimist and the optimist, what are you going to see? Are you going to see the opportunities and the solutions and the possibilities? Or are you going to say, nope, there are none, we're just stuck, we're doomed? Stacy. Oh, I like that. There's a false belief that you have to choose between compassion or common sense. And so what's the truth? I love that. Love finds an equilibrium. But the thing is, what I'm trying to show you is there's a problem, there's a belief that's causing the problem, and if we look at the belief and then tell ourselves the truth, that's how we shift consciousness. That's how we bring healing about. The spiritual truth that infinite intelligence is acting now, the truth that love is present in everyone, the truth that somebody that looks like they're going to be taken advantage of, they have power, they are whole regardless of what's happening, they bring forward creative opportunities out of that creativity of the universe. But my invitation to you is, as part of your spiritual practice, the things in the world that are bothering you, look for the false belief that's underneath them. And then ask yourself, this is a false belief. This is not true. It's not true that we're all separate and in competition with each other. The truth is we are one with each other and we are one with Spirit. When you find the truth, that's where I want you to do your meditations. That's what I want your meditation to center around, is whatever the truth is that you find. That's what I want your affirmative prayers to be centered in. Whatever the truth is, the principle that is unchanging, that's where you put your focus. That's where you put your energy. That's how we move the needle. That's how we shift things in consciousness, because until we shift the underlying belief, nothing is going to change out here. It's just a reflection of what we're believing. So if we are indeed all part of this collective consciousness, and we think into that collective consciousness so that it unfolds itself, thinking in alignment with what the truth of Spirit is, thinking peace, thinking love, thinking wholeness, thinking power, thinking oneness, enables that to manifest itself easier in the world. Does that make sense? That's where healing begins, both individually in our own lives and collectively. So when you find yourself in judgment and in fear and in worry, stop, reconnect with your heart. There you can find peace. Reconnect with your love, because that's really your essential nature. And remember why you're here. You're here to make a difference. You're here to bring healing. You're here to be a beneficial presence. You're here to shine your light and bring your soul, your spirit into this world. That is what is helpful. That is how we change things. And do what is yours to do in this physical world. A. Helwa, who is a writer and poet of Islamic descent, says, "We all come with a unique mission on earth. No matter your calling, this world is depending on you. Existence is a puzzle. Without you in it, it would be incomplete. Now is the time for you to step into being all that you can be." And so I'm going to invite you to participate with me in what is called the People's Inauguration. I'm going to have you stand and join me, but first I'm going to read to you what you're going to agree to and claim before you do it. It says, "I, Jennifer, do solemnly vow that I will faithfully execute my role in healing, reimagining, and rebuilding our country, and will to the best of my ability preserve, protect, and defend inclusion, love, healing for myself and all those around me." And so if you agree to that, I invite you to stand. And to place your right hand on your heart. And then bring your left hand over the top of your right hand. And join me in declaring, "I," and say your name, "I, Jennifer, do solemnly vow that I will faithfully execute my role in healing, reimagining, and rebuilding our country, and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend inclusion, love, and healing for myself and for all those around me." You may be seated. Can you breathe a little easier? I'm going to close today with a reading I've read to you before, but it's so powerful. It's called "We Were Made for These Times" by Clarissa Pinkola Estes. In any dark time, there is a tendency to veer toward fainting over how much is wrong in an unmended world. Do not focus on that. There is a tendency, too, to fall into being weakened by dwelling on what is outside your reach, what you cannot yet be. Do not focus there. That is spending the wind without raising the sails. We are needed at this time. That is all we can know. Ours is not the task of fixing the entire world all at once, but stretching out to mend the part of the world that is within our reach. Any small, calm thing one soul can do to help another soul, to assist some portion of this poor suffering world, will help immensely. It is not given us to know which acts or by whom will cause the critical mass to tip toward an enduring good. What is needed for dramatic change is an accumulation of acts. Adding to, adding more, continuing. We know that it does not take everyone on earth to bring justice and peace, but only a small determined group who will not give up during the first, second, or 100th gale. One of the most calming and powerful actions you can take to intervene in a stormy world is to stand up and show your soul. In my uttermost bones, I know something as you do. It is that there can be no despair when you remember why you came to earth, who you serve, and who sent you. The good words you say and the good words we do are not ours. They are the words and the deeds of the one who brought us here. In that spirit, I hope you write this on your wall. When a great ship is in a harbor and moored, it is safe. There can be no doubt. But that is not what great ships are built for. So blessings to all of you on this path of bringing your light into this world, of being a healing presence, of being a beneficial presence, and living and doing your soul work. Blessings to all of you. And so I invite you to join me in an affirmative prayer as we turn our attention to the truth. The truth truly that God is ever present, all that God is. Spirit, the infinite one, the one and only, the eternal thing itself. Whatever you choose to call it, it is ever present. All that it is, not part of it. All of that presence is fully present at every single point, at every single moment in time, within every person, within every situation, within every circumstance. God itself, that one and only, is ever present. And so what I know right now is that presence is present in our hearts, in our minds, speaking to us as our motivation and the things that call to our hearts and souls of what is not right and what we want to make right. For I know that that distress that we feel deep within is because something is amiss with our soul. Our soul is saying there is something different that can be here. And so we heed the call of our soul to bring that forward into this world that is calling for this healing. And I know that that same presence is present in every single person, even the ones that we judge, even the ones we think we don't like, even the ones that people are calling the enemy or evil. That presence is fully present right there. All of the intelligence that Spirit is, all of the creativity, all of the love and the peace and the order and the harmony and the balance. So today we put our focus on that and we call that forward. We invite that forward simply by our recognition of it. And so we commit ourselves to being an avenue for that good to come into this world. And one of the ways that we do that is simply by recognizing and holding it as the greatest truth. For in God, Spirit, the one, there are no problems, only solutions, only answers, only a way forward. And that is revealing itself within humanity right now. And so it is with a grateful heart that I release this prayer into the creative law of the universe, knowing that it is unfolding simply because we have opened ourselves to it. And so I release this prayer, and if you are in agreement, I invite you to join me in saying, and so it is. And so I do have a few invitations for you as a way to participate in this family. One is we are having our annual meeting February 23rd, so put that on your calendar. We will be discussing the things that we did this year and making plans for next year. We will also be voting in 3 board positions and approving a budget for next year and talking about what we want to do as far as in-reach and outreach and classes and activities. So we put your little thinking caps on and think about what you might like to do this year. We'd love to hear what you have to say. Pat and Mike are continuing to work with the unhoused in Long Beach, and if you would like to join them in their outreach, they would love to have you join them. Sunday talks are available on our website. Mike, is that true? They're all popping up on our website? Yes. On Monday evening, usually, we invite you to share those, share the links with your friends. Do you know anybody that might need to hear this message today? So share our talks, share our Instagram posts, share it all. Check in on Meetup and say that you're coming. Share our links on all of our social media. We have prayer support after service. Will you raise your hand if you're a practitioner? They are happy to sit down and pray with you after service. Also, if you came up with something in your mind that's bothering you or something else, and you don't really understand what the underlying belief is or what the truth, the spiritual principle, talk to one of the practitioners or me, and we are happy to help you figure that out so that you know what to pray about, what to meditate on, what to sit in, what kind of energy to create. Because the thing is, and then once you sit in that, then you go out into the world and act as if it's true. Mm-hmm. Act as if there's only one. Act as if love is everywhere. Act as if whatever it is that you have been affirming and knowing. And so I invite you to repeat after me. Good fills my life now. I recognize it. I savor it. I own it. I live it. And so it is.